usually represents a shared variable, right? As I told you that there could be a scenario where an application is used in a different automation project in your organization, right? So you do not want to you know write the URL in a different config files, right? So you can store that URL once and that can be used in all of the automation. And similarly, you should be able to store the credential for that application in the shared and secure manner so that your all automation can use it, right? So these are the two features of assets. Okay, so asset as it is, it can be it is used to store a shared variable or a credential that can be used in a different automation project, right? It provides a level of security because it uses the concept of encryption called AES 256 algorithm, right? An asset can be retrieved into UiPath Studios using a different activities called get asset and get credential. And similarly, you should be able to update the asset values from the studio as well, right? As of now, UiPath support 4 types of asset. Okay, one is a text that is stores only string values. Then we have a boolean which supports true or false value. Then we have an integer which supports only whole number, and then supports the credential where you should be able to type the username and password that robot will require to execute a particular process, such as login to SAP or Salesforce or Workday, right? And all the asset types are encrypted in the Orchestrator database by default, right? Existing assets will be also encrypted when you try to update them. So this is a very common question people will ask in an interview, that how the assets are stored in a database. Are they encrypted? So yes, they are encrypted. They are encrypted using the algorithm called AES 256, right? Yeah. I don't recall it, man, exactly, but I think it's I don't recall it exactly. But that's the algorithm mechanism, right? There are a lot of algorithm mechanism, MD5, SHA 256, and those. Yeah, it's very similar to Vault. Yeah, it's very similar to Vault. It's very similar to Vault. Okay, so let's take an example. We're gonna build now. So this is a RPA bot challenge website. Okay, again, this is my website. So here you should be able to practice RPA. Okay. So what we are going to build here is, we are going to store the URL in our orchestrator, and we are also going to store the username and password in the orchestrator as assets, and then we'll create a small workflow that will get this URL and username and password from the orchestrator and run it. Okay. So let's do it. So first thing that we're going to do is create an asset. Asset name will say, RPABOTS.world URL. Okay. And it is of text type. We'll say it's a website URL. Okay. And you will store this URL here. Okay. And we'll create it. So one asset is created. Okay. Now we'll create another asset, and then we'll go to the UiPath Studio and we'll see how we should be able to retrieve these assets. Okay. So next asset type that I'll create is not of boolean or integer type, because they are same, but credentials are different, because credential will be holding the username and password both. Okay. So I'll create a asset called username. Okay. Sorry, I'll say asset name should be RPA bots world dot username. Okay, or you can say it credential as well, whatever you want to say, it's up to you. Okay, so, or you can say login. Okay, and I'll store username as admin. Okay, and password as a password, so which is this one. So you can see this password. Okay, and this I am storing as a global value. So there is a concept called global value, or there is a concept per robot asset values, right? So for different robot, you should be able to assign different username and password as well.
Right.
So for that, what you can do, you can create a add robot asset value, and it will ask for which machine, which user, what value you want to use, right?
Okay.
So I'm not going to use this function. I'm going to use this global function as of now, and I'll create it. So now we have two assets created here. One is RPABOTSWORLD.url, another one is RPABOTSURL.login. Okay. I'll quickly open up the UiPath Studio now. Okay. And we'll go and create an automation that will launch this application and log in.
Correct.
Right. So UiPath Studio is here. I'll create on a blank process. Okay. And I'll say demo assets. Create it. Okay. Now in the main page, okay, I'll create a sequence. Or you can, whatever you want to create, you can create a flow chart as well. But for sake of simplicity, we are creating a sequence. And now we need to go here and use activity called get assets. Get assets. So we'll drag and drop get assets. Okay. So all you need to do is you need to give the asset name. Okay. So what we can do, we can go here on the asset page here, and I'll give the asset name, which is here in a double quote. Sorry. This should exactly match, yes. Okay. It need to be in quotes. Yeah. And I need to store whatever the data is coming from the orchestrator. I need to store into a variable. So I'll create a variable called URL. Okay. So data will be stored in a variable, and let me do a log message to print that. Okay. And I'll say website URL colon, and then I'll concatenate the string URL dot toString. Okay. So we got this data. Okay. And now for getting the password, there is another activity called get credential. Right. So similar to that, you need to copy this name. Okay. This is credential name. You can again create a variable called username. Right. And again called variable called password. Okay. So username will be stored in a username, password will be stored in a password. Okay. And now I'll print, again a log message just to showcase you that we have received the username. Okay. Got it. So we have this. So this is a username, and now we'll create our automation. So what we need to do, we need to open a browser, right? So we'll use application or browser. Okay. So this is a modern activity. Sorry, I think I used a modern activity. That's the reason it's taking this way. But anyways, okay. So I can do is I can click on the application, and then it will come like this. So this is how here. So this is the same thing, but this data is coming from where? This data is nothing but the URL that we have, So we'll say this is URL dot toString. Right. So we'll launch this application, and after launching, what we need to do? We need to type data here, and we need to type data here, and we need to click on a submit button. Okay. So for that, we'll do a type into activity.
Okay, type into.
Okay. It will type into, and then you need to click on indicate in a Chrome. Okay. And it will create a selector for that. I'll showcase you that, but it is coming on a different step screen. Okay. So it will come like this.
Okay.
And then
So
again,
automatically go there in username.
yeah, I'll showcase you. Just hold for a second. Type password.
Password.
Type secure string, or maybe, oh no, sorry, in modern folder you don't have those option. It comes in a same. So previously it is two things there, but now it is the option here. Can you see this? Standard and secure. Okay. So now see what will happen here. I'll bring browser here. Okay. And so what I need to do, I need to type where on password, right? So I click here, and then this window will come and it will ask you where you want to type. Okay. Selector. So I'll set this, and automatically this thing will come, and this is not dynamic, very static, so I'll keep it as it is. I do not want to change anything. But when we work with a web application, I'll explain you what is this strict selector, fuzzy selector, and all those kind of things. Everything I'll explain you, so don't worry about it. Right? So we entered into the user and password, right? So here I'll do, and here what I need to type, username, right? And here what I need to type, password, right? And then next thing I need to do is click on that submit button. So I'll click, and I'll again click, and I'll say you need to click on login button. Okay, I'll confirm it here, and then this automation will become. Okay, so I'll save this. Okay, and I'll close this browser which is already open, the Chrome one, so that you do not get confused. Okay, and now I'll run this. Okay, so let's run this. It is started. Website URL printed. Name is name. It has typen admin, and it has logged in, and it has closed. Because we didn't do anything, so that's the reason. Once it comes out of the scope of this close, user browser, it will automatically close. So you can control this, but as of now, that's what we wanted to do, right? So you can look at the output now, and you can see the website URL is this one, user is admin, and this one. Yeah. So you should be able to access those details, right, from the orchestrator. Nothing hard coded here. Everything is coming from the orchestrator, right? Right. One more thing I want to showcase you. As of now, I'm in a HR folder, but if I'm in a shared folder, would I be able to use this? Now let's run it. And so we don't have permission for this, right? Could not find the asset this, error code, asset name, exception type, your activity, HTTP exception, right? So that means assets defined inside a folder, one folder, can be accessed by the automation in the same folder, right? It cannot be accessed from the outside. But if you have something defined into shared, that can be accessed in the HR as well.